So, hello and welcome to another episode of The Happiness Revolution, where I talk about or use age-old wisdom that we have forgotten, and the kind of wisdom that will change our lives and change the world, make the world a better place for everybody and everything. Right, and I also talk about very practical things. That's the idea. That's the introduction to the talk. But before I forget again, I want to apologize to the few viewers that I have at the moment, because I'm still very much in testing mode in these videos, changing microphones, changing cameras, even in this particular video, going for a screen recorder. A couple of reasons for that, just so I can get a nice picture, and also because I keep starting to explain things and I forget about them, or I forget to explain certain things. I like to go with the flow generally, but you can't keep forgetting things, can I? I shouldn't really especially it's terrible when I realise I started explaining something and I forget to explain it in full. And that's partly because I'm in a rush usually, so that's something I've got to change. So there's the apology. I don't want to bore everybody. What's the topic of this video? It's about freedom, freedom for individuals and countries, but in this particular context, because Scotland has just had a vote to were allowed to vote whether or not they should be free from England or Britain, so-called Great Britain, and this morning they decided not to have independence. I want to briefly talk about that because it's nice to talk about current stuff, just to give you an idea of where we are now and how we can move into this beautiful future, which we will definitely arrive at, but maybe later rather than sooner, depending on us. So, what happened? Scotland had a chance to vote. They had a referendum and they said no, but it was a pretty close call. I think it was about 55% said no, we don't want our own country, or an independent country, and 45% roughly said yes, we do want it. And why should they have wanted it? Because just a couple of reasons, mainly financial and moral. Financially, they would have been better off because England, the English politicians take billions of pounds in terms of Scottish oil. They take Scottish oil, which is in the North Sea, and there's plenty more to go. So Scotland didn't take advantage of that. And of course there's a moral benefits, because most people believe there isn't much of a democracy left in Great Britain, definitely not in English politics, because we simply can't trust the politicians. They go out for one war after the other, going rampaging, stealing and looting other countries for their oil, etc., etc. We just can't trust these politicians. So it would make sense to separate it would make sense for the Scottish to separate themselves and possibly make an effort to have a more moral government. But they said no. And there wasn't much of an argument to say no, other than we just don't know what will happen. Everything hasn't been planned out. What will happen to your finance? What will happen if ISIL, this so-called Islamic State, comes and attacks you? What will you do? All these what ifs. And there was a very silly argument saying, we're part of one family. Of course we are part of one human family, but coming from English politicians, I don't think that was very honest, because what do we do in this family? We don't really give much. we just kind of take. There isn't much of a family going on. So why do I say that Scotland doesn't deserve freedom? And what do I mean by that even? Well, Scotland doesn't deserve freedom because they fear what might go wrong. Actually, I want to explain that Scotland, the people of Scotland, are not really different to the people of the rest of the world, pretty much. Because they are not making true moral change happen because they fear what might go wrong. They fear the future. They don't try hard enough to do the right thing morally themselves. So as individuals, they are fearing. We fear that if we choose this right action, then we might look silly, or something might go wrong, or people might not like us. Something might go wrong. So we don't deserve, and when we do that, even though financially we might decide, okay, for example, let me put a concrete example for the individual. There are so many amazing business opportunities out there. Opportunities, the type that where we can follow our passions and do what we truly love, but we don't do it because we fear what would go wrong. So if there's a whole bunch of individuals who fear like that, then as a country we're going to be the same. Our country is going to represent us as a general kind of individual, as individuals, and as a country we're going to be fearful, and then we're not going to make the choices that will make for a better world. Now, it was a close call, like I said, right? So we're getting there. It's not all doom and gloom. We are getting there. We are becoming more honest. We're all become a bit more brave. We're almost taking the opportunities. Now, the opportunities don't only come when we get a chance to vote, when the politicians allow us to vote for a free country or for change. Opportunities are there all the time. They will become more apparent and more common when we change. We can step up and make a political party now and say, look, we want to vote for this political party which is honest and true. It won't go around stealing from other countries and causing trouble all over the world and making the poor poorer and the rich richer, which we know is happening all the time. We know it already. It's so blatant, but we don't make any change. So I don't want to be too quick because I feel like every time I rush things I forget really basic things. I start off an explanation, I don't finish that explanation, etc, etc. So I'm trying to slow down a little bit with my little talks. So what have I done? I've talked about the background, I talked about the financial moral benefits. Yes, we fear too much. Scotland almost got there and the world is almost getting there. We're getting closer to the revolution, but not quite. But it might take a long time yet. It might take a long time yet before the revolution happens, unless we change our scared and selfish attitudes, because we're scared because we're selfish. Okay, and yes, so I repeat things because the truth is simple. I say on the bottom bullet point, and what I mean by that is that yes, I've talked about how we can change governments before, and the solution was the same, which is if we were honest, we become more united, and if we become more united, we could change our governments because our governments come from among us. We deserve the governments we get. The governments are a reflection of our own corruption. Any corruption in government is just a magnification of our own corruption. And I'm repeating things because the truth is simple. It's not complicated. We don't have to have a million different answers for the same sort of question. It's the same basic idea. We need to change. Stop pointing at other people. Point at ourselves. Look in the mirror. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the improved sound quality. If you've got any feedback, I'm always listening. Send me a comment.